Okay, so if we have, let me switch to some colors here. Let's do like an orange with no stroke. So if we have the, why do I keep pressing the wrong button? If we have the bottom of the cylinder like this, see that actually makes it so that you have footballs, because circles don't have any corners. And so if we want this to actually be a cylinder, there's a number of ways to do it, but one is you hold shift as you're pulling down that corner with your anchor point tool. And if these handlebars right here, if they align with this edge, then you will get, kind of a realistic look. And the way that you can tell that is if you grab just this edge, copy and paste, and then we'll just flip this 100% over like that. And let's just change the color so that we can kind of see what it looks like. You can kind of see that it's a complete, ellipse in perspective. Whereas if we did the same thing over here, copy and paste. Oops, did I get the whole thing? Let's just grab just this edge. There we go, copy and paste. And then we'll do the red dealio, and then we'll flip this over. See, a circle is never going to look like that. Okay, and if it's not a skyscraper, right? If it's a smaller object, then this edge is probably going to be the same in the same perspective, right? If it's small, and so what you can often do is you can often just grab this edge and copy and paste, and then you can use that, to create other edges that are in the same perspective. And so you can come in and do something like this. So another thing that you can do that is really helpful is, let's say that you have something that is like a coffee cup or a pill bottle that it's going to have multiple cylinders that are all in the same perspective. Yeah, like an ice cream cone or something like that. I can come in here and I can create the first one. And let's say that I want to do like a circle. So I'm going to come in here like this, use my Smart Guides. So turn Smart Guides on under View Smart Guides, and then I align it there and align it there. Now I'm just going to change this to just be a slightly different color. Let's go slightly different so it's not so hideous. HSB, let's make it a little darker. Okay, so when I line that up, I can take this again and I can bring this up here. And if I make it the same color, then what we're looking at now is it just looks like we're looking at the bottom of the cylinder, right? And so you could combine those or whatever. But another thing that you could do is, you could actually just combine these. So since I like the circle, I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to combine these with our shape builder tool like that. Okay, and then if I want to do additional things, I can bring this up and I can make it slightly bigger. I can bring that up and I can make that slightly bigger. I can bring that up, make that slightly bigger, right? And then if we want to, we can grab each one of those and come down just a little bit, grab this one, shape builder. Oops, I gotta grab both of them. Now I've confused myself. This guy and this guy. Shift M. Well, click and drag there. Okay, I'll go back and I can grab this one and I can create a shadow out of that shape. And so I bring this to the top and then it creates kind of that shadow. You can even take this curve if you want and just, drag it down a little bit or whatever to give yourself a little bit more, but it'll give you that little shadow. And so I'm just going to do that real quick on these. So I'm just going to drag this down slightly and use this one to cut it. Okay, and then I'm going to grab it and make it a shadow, and then I'm going to grab this one and put it on top. And then I'm going to grab this one and put it on top, and I'm going to drag it up. Grab this and this. Shift M, Alt, click. Oh, did I do the wrong thing? Oh, what am I doing? What's going on This one. Okay, so this one and this one, yeah. So Shift M, Alt click. And then make that the shadow. And the longer the shadow, the higher or deeper the thing is, right? Because things that are super close, like if I had a shadow that was like right there, and we'll put this at the bottom, that's that thing that's a little too close to actually see, but that means that that thing is very close to that, right? Whereas this is saying that it's a little bit further away. Okay, and so we can kind of just make this bigger. But if I wanted this whole thing to be in perspective, and let's just take this, I'm going to make a copy of it, drag it up here. I'm going to move this one out of the way. There we go. So I'm going to put this on top, and I'm going to hold Alt and Shift until it aligns with that outer edge. I'm going to make this a lighter version of this color because it's going to be facing the light. And so we just go to HSB and we add a little bit of lighter value. But then the inside of this, I can copy, paste in front. And so once I get that, I haven't actually created a new circle at all yet. It's all been just made out of that one circle that I made, right? And if I want to put like a liquid in here, I can drag down and I can cut that like that, and then I can grab this and we can make, you know, some sort of weird blue liquid or something. That looks strange, but it all seems like it's in the right perspective because it's all made of the one circle, right? And then I can grab this thing. That red is bothering me. Sorry, I've got to change. It's just going to bug me if I don't fix it. Okay, there we go. We'll make it like coffee or something. And if I want to have like a little rim that matches this, I can still use this shape. You know, and you can continue to kind of just use those shapes to create other shapes. And so now this one can come in and we can go just a little bit lighter, you know, something like that. Okay, or vice versa would probably make more sense. Something like that. And so if I want to put this whole thing and really like squeeze it, we can hit E, which is going to be your free transform tool. And the free transform tool brings up this. And there's a number of things that you can do with this, but this one will put things in perspective. And so I can pull this out. And you notice that all of the lines that were parallel to each other are now vanishing to this vanishing point. And so you can kind of just, you know, kind of push that and it'll keep everything and it looks like it's all still in perspective. Now I might come in just a little bit and, you know, pull some of these out just a touch, you know, just to kind of exaggerate it or whatever, but that's basically, you have this, you know, this big cylinder going on. And that's kind of how you can kind of get that to work. So anyway. Okay, so as we look at these, you're going to be tempted to try to make a pattern out of it, which might not be a bad idea. And actually, we could probably start with that. And so I'm going to come in and I'm just going to go one darker value color. That'll be fine. And then I'm going to do kind of a grid. Ooh, even better yet, we can cheat this grid and it'll go faster. So we'll go object. I never used this thing, so I can never remember where it is. Path split into the grid.
Oh, you're kidding.
And then we'll go preview. Let's turn that off for a sec. And we'll go like this. Yeah, we'll do 6, that'll be fine. 6, and then we'll give it a gutter. 7 pixel gutter will be good. Great. Okay, so then we click OK. And now we have individual squares. And we can take these squares and we can go Alt, click and drag. Yeah, we could go pretty far. No, we don't want to go too far. We'll go about this far. That'll be fine. Okay. And what we need to do now is shape builder tool, and there's probably a quicker way to do this, but I can't think of it right now. So I am just going to delete all of those on the upper right hand side. So that's upper right, that's upper right. So we need all of these. I'm going to keep the lower left and just delete the upper right. Stupid mouse keeps zooming in on me. Come back out. Like that. Okay, and then let's grab this color and we'll just add a darker value to it. And we load that darker value into our thing and we can just push it. And so we're going to push it to the outside edge of each of these. You know, maybe there's probably a quick way to do this as well, but I'm not thinking of it right now. Okay, so if you hold Alt with the eyedropper tool, then instead of drawing color, it actually drops color. And so you can kind of just push colors. All right, so if I actually aim correctly, I hit two of these at the same time. Go a little faster. Okay, so now we have that, and then behind this, I'm just going to throw that behind. I'm going to grab this color, and then go to HSB. Because that's raised, it's going to hit the light. And so you can kind of do that.
Wow.
And then we can grab this whole thing, and I'm seeing this at a slight angle, and so I'm going to take this at an angle like that, and then I'm going to go into Object, Envelope, Distort, Make with Warp, and let's see if we can find one of these that makes sense. And I'm not going to worry about the outside shape at this point. What I'm actually worried about is trying to curve these lines so that they look like a spiral. So I'm going to try Arc. And I'm going to just kind of push this until it curves the way I want it to, but I want it to skew and get smaller at the bottom. Might be pushing that a little bit too far, we'll see. And then let's just crank that. It's a little too much, so we'll come back. Okay, and then I make my shape. So then I come in and I create my cone shape. And we'll grab this guy, we'll hit E, we'll throw him into perspective, like that, and then I drag it over, line him up with where I want him to go, pull this down a little bit more, and he's got to be a little bit smaller now. Something weird just happened. That was strange. Okay, once we have that, then we can take this whole thing and mask it.
Oh, wow.
Right, you start to have that. And so then you'd probably just come in and, you know, you can do one of two things. You can kind of just adjust things or whatever, but a cheap way would be you could come into your mask and you can just adjust your mask. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab the outer edge of this mask, and then I can just pull these up, these little ridges.
Oh, okay.
Right, because you're just masking what's underneath. So you can just come in and just kind of roughly guess, where it would lift. Kind of gives you that kind of cone edge. So that's one way of doing it. Another way would be create a pattern. So we'll go like this, and let's grab that color, and we'll copy and paste in front, and we will rotate back, rotate that guy. Oops. Switch to the blackout tool, go like this, and we'll combine them. Then I kind of want to round off those corners a little bit, but I only want to round off the corners, not these ones, because I want it to be a pattern. And so you can kind of just pull that in like that. And then we can grab this, and then darken it. And then we grab this, and we go Object, Pattern, Make, and then you just adjust your pattern tile to wherever you want it to be. And so I want it to be like that, but I want, let's see, this one, and that one, no, that one. Okay. And so let's undim just to see if that makes sense. So that's pretty close. I would probably come in and kind of flare these out as well. So you kind of just come in and we're just going to roughly do this. I'm just going to grab this guy. Actually, it would be this one. And I'm going to add an anchor point here. And I'm going to take this and drag it. We're super small right now, so it's going to give us some problems. Pull that through. Kind of curve into that. This guy. Just come up. Okay, and then we can kind of do the same thing up here. So let's grab this one. What is that? That is that one. Oh, and it's, yeah, for the time being, we'll say that's okay. You can kind of round that out a little bit more if you wanted to. Anyway, then you can click done. And then we can go like this, and we can make a big thing, and we apply our pattern to it. And then we can go to our scale tool, double click, and make sure that scale, stroke, and effects is off, or sorry, transform patterns is on, but I don't want objects. And then I can come in and I can go preview, and I can just increase or decrease the percentage that I'm scaling it. And so we'll get it roughly, sure, right there. Okay, and then we click OK, and then you can go into object pattern, or sorry, object envelope, distort, make with warp, and you can distort it again, right? And so you can go that way. Or you could create a grid and you could just do it yourself. And so you go to object envelope, distort, make with mesh. And with mesh, you create your own grid. And so I'm just going to go 2 rows and 2 columns. And we'll click OK. And then you can come in with your arrow tool and you can start to bend these, and they will bend wherever you want them to. And they have handlebars and everything else, and so you can kind of come in. And let's, like, you know, raise this side up and raise this side up, bend down, you know, and then you kind of just, you're just kind of warping this to be whatever. And then I would recommend that you mask it again. And so just each one of these kind of get it to bend however you want. And another thing is you can also do this. So if you go to Object, Envelope, Distort, Release, what you can do is you can start with one and then move to the other. So if you go Object, Envelope, Distort, Make with Warp, and let's do just like a basic, yeah, let's just start with the arc, and I'll get rid of these that are kind of distorting it. Okay, so you can get kind of a basic shape going, and then when you click OK, these now become a mesh that is editable, and so you can come in with your white arrow tool, your pen tools, your convert anchor point tools, and kind of further adjust it from there. So it gives you kind of like a starting point. And so you can do all kinds of weird things, like that. And then you just take your cone shape again and, just use that as a mask once you have it the way that you want it. Put your cone shape on top and mask it. And then you put that on top of, whatever, or double click and, throw something inside of that because you're in isolation mode. So we'll go in here and we'll grab this one, we'll throw that behind, and we will darken it slightly. Yeah, darken it slightly. Yeah. Anyway, and then you still have, inside of this, you still have this. Once you even you mask it, you can still come in and make other adjustments, And these will bend all the way around, so you can come in and you can give yourself, real decent looking curves and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, those are kind of fun, but that'll give you kind of that